Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are gathered here today to talk about Eric Powell, Albatross Funny Books, and all things The Goon, Issue 6. Please join me. So I've been a big fan of Eric Powell and his Albatross Funny Books imprint for a few years now. I was fortunate enough to attend the Goon 20th anniversary party in March of 2019 in Nashville, Tennessee. That's a picture of me holding the Goon title belt. And I just can't say enough good things about Albatross Funny Books titles. They put out a book called Grumble. That's outstanding. They do a compilation of horror stories called Spook House. And I was a huge fan of Hillbilly. This was the title that Eric focused on before the Goon came back from its extended hiatus. And let's talk about the Goon now. Setting the stage for a typical Goon story, a template, if you will, you're going to have a lot of these elements. You're going to have Lonely Street and its inhabitants. Lonely Street is sort of a 1920s era blue-collar American town. You're going to have the Goon and his sidekick Frankie, of course. You're going to have an array of villains, which includes monsters, witches, sorcerers. They even had a mummy in one issue. You're going to have epic fight scenes. Just take a look at the images I have up on the screen. And that segues into, you're usually going to have Eric Powell's awesome pencils. He has a detailed yet accessible style. I use that a lot to describe art I like. It just makes you want to pull out a pencil and a piece of paper or a sketch pad and start drawing. And lastly, you're going to have humor. These books are funny. If humor is not your thing in comic books, you might want to skip this. But having said all that, let's talk about Goon issue 6. Our story opens with some kids from Lonely Street breaking into a funeral home. We're not exactly sure why they did this, but we see them over here, a group of mobsters talking about how to get rid of Goon. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but pay particular attention to this guy in the chair. Okay, then we cut to Goon and Frankie wanting to get kickbacks on one Fishy Pete's fish sticks. And of course, that would involve taking a trip to Fishy Pete's warehouse. Yay. Right, so Goon and Frankie storm the warehouse, and you know Fishy Pete is not going to put up with this, and much fighting ensues. So then our gangster from the first page shows up. He's upset, more fighting ensues, and Frankie eventually sets fire to the warehouse, and Goon and our antagonist get separated. And then we cut back to the funeral home. There's that strange man in the chair silhouetted out, and that's it for this issue. Cue the credits. The verdict. I actually spent so much time putting this review together that I changed my initial review. The story, I think, is a setup for future issues, but I really came to appreciate the craft Eric Powell, who was on writing duties, put in putting it together. So I'm giving the story a 4.0. Now, the art is by one Brett Parson. The art is very respectable, but it's not Eric Powell who usually draws it. So I'm giving the art a 3.5, which gives us a total of 7.5 out of 10. Very respectable issue. Just not one of my favorites. And that's the verdict. And if you've made it this far, I thank you. See you next time.